Ravnica Allegiance leaks have already started. I'm excited. We're not maybe in official spoiler season. I don't care. We got new cards to look at, so let's look at them. All right, jumping right into it. We got Gate Colossus. All right, let's zoom in a bit. I think this works. For 8, it's an 8/8, but no trample or flying or anything like that. It's just an 8/8, although it does say it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. It costs 1 less as well for each gate we control, which is pretty cool. And then whenever a gate enters the battlefield under our control, we can put it from the graveyard on top of our library. So in Limited, this will definitely be a good card. Green, of course, will probably be happy, assuming that there's cards that get you lands onto the battlefield, search for gates, all that fun stuff. Next is Growth Spiral, which just has fantastic art. Man, Seb McKinnon, you crush it, man. Look at this thing, looks awesome. Obviously, it's a Simic card with the green and blue. It's an instant, draw a card, put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Simple. I'm curious, we got to see what else comes out in the set to see what kind of synergies, what value you can really get from this. But overall, it looks sweet. An instant that draws you a card is not too shabby. Hopefully, we can get some more value out of it too. Next up is Ravnica. I can say that right. Ravnica Azorius Renegade. Again, more fantastic art. I love the mischievous kind of look because with Azorius, right, they're typically the law. And the fact that she's in the shadows in this picture really has me excited to hear why she's working behind the scenes when generally the law is about what's out in the open. Yeah? So this kind of, it's giving me that Demir look, but not so much. It's juxtaposed to the white in the guild's color. So yeah, definitely excited to hear more about the storyline with this. Legendary creature, human soldier, 2/2. Each opponent can't cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost greater than the number of lands that player controls. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. So for Limited, I'm not sure this is going to be quite a bomb or anything super exciting, but there's a few formats where she is going to be a force to be reckoned with. So that's kind of cool that they're coming up with cards that are definitely going to have impacts to some of the Eternal formats. Next up, Light Up the Stage. This was a card that was leaked I don't know how long ago. 2 in a red. You get Spectacle, which we do now know what it does. Exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of turn. Till the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. Places everyone. That's some pretty good flavor text. And I like the Planeswalker symbol, the back, yeah, the watermark in the background, that's sweet. So Spectacle, I really like, because if an opponent was dealt damage this turn, you can cast it for the Spectacle cost. So for this, I'm seeing 2 pretty sweet uses of the mechanic Spectacle. So 1, it could just be used to lower the cost of the spell, which is obviously what's happening here. Costs 3, but if you somehow deal them damage, somehow they take damage, now it only costs 1. Cool. Or you can make the card cost more, which we'll see in another example, if they're dealt damage. So it's like, hey, if you can deal damage to them, you can now have the opportunity to get bonus value from your cards. That flexibility, I think, is pretty awesome. I think Wizards did a great job on Spectacle, at least from a flavor standpoint, from a playability standpoint. I'm curious to see how well the cards really play off each other, how well the guilds play off each other. That's definitely going to remain to be seen. But so far, this card, big fan of it. Moving on to Mortify. We've got a reprint with this art is fantastic. Fantastic. 1 white and black. Destroy target creature and enchantment. Again, look at this watermark back here. It's going to be an awesome card. Probably going to play standard, have standard playability depending on what the rest of the guild offers. It's going to be a limited great first pickable card. Pretty simple. Moving on. Rafter Demon. Here's where we're getting more of the Spectacle shenanigans. For 2, a black and a red, you get a 4/2. But if you somehow deal damage to your opponent, it's not deal damage. If an opponent lost life this turn, when Rafter Demon enters the battlefield, if its Spectacle cost was paid, each opponent discards a card. So for a common, a 4/2 for 4, not very exciting. But at common, to then get a discard ability for 1 extra mana, that's pretty decent. For Limited especially, again, we'll have to see what options are out there. I do really like that. I really like with Guilds of Ravnica, you have the shock lands, right? Especially in red, there's cheap ways to get damage in. So the fact that Spectacle plays around an opponent losing life, I think is really smart in this, especially with instant stuff that you can play at instant speed. Spectacles, so far, I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. Then we got Rakdos Firewheeler. Big Really excited for this card. One, this artwork's pretty sweet. But two, it's given us the XXYY mana cost cycles coming back. 2 thumbs up for that. 4/3, when it enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to target opponent and 2 damage to up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. So for 4 mana, you get a 4/3 that deals potentially 4 damage to the board, or 4 damage, I guess, to your opponent's side of the board. Yeah, sure, 2 thumbs up. Rick's Mahdi Reveler, for 1 and a red, you get a 2/2 with the spectacle of 2 black and red. I'm curious if all the spectacle creatures are going to have both guild colors, because, right, Light Up the Stage doesn't, but maybe Rick's and Rafter, maybe that's not the norm. Have to wait and see on that. But when it enters the battlefield, discard a card, then draw a card. If its spectacle cost was paid, instead discard your hand, then draw 3 cards, which is going to be great for Rakdos because they're probably trying to get their hand down ASAP. Chances are you can probably deal damage with something in your hand, then get 3 more cards. That is no joke. And then the card that I think most people are talking about, Simic Ascendancy. For green and blue, you get an enchantment. It's a rare, but you can now pay 1, a green and a blue, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. This is somewhat reminiscent of Hadana's Climb. It'll play pretty well with Hadana's Climb. Curious to see what kind of deck text we can come up with there. But then it also reads, whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters are put on a creature you control, put that many growth counters on Simic Ascendancy. And then, of course, got to have a cool win condition. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Simic Ascendancy has 20 or more growth counters on it, you win the game. EDH players rejoice. And then here's probably the creepiest card of the bunch. Although, man, this Rafter Demon, that's some pretty epic looking art. Mortify's pretty mortifying. Anyway, the Haunt of Hightower. 4 and 2 black, 3/3 flying lifelink. Limited bomb right there. Flying lifelink, not easy to deal with unless you can deal with it right away. Whenever the Haunt of Hightower attacks, defending player discards a card. That's really solid value. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, doesn't matter how it's done, put a 1/1 counter on the Haunt of Hightower. Wow. So that's going to be pretty fun in Limited. There's going to be definitely some potential with Constructed. I was curious with this, with Surveilling from Guilds of Ravnica. Right, in a way, this wants to play against Surveilling, because if they're Surveilling cards to the graveyard, this thing's getting huge. But you'd think it'd want to, like, not go against itself. Am I making sense there? Either way, I'm excited. Vampire, it's definitely going to go in my Vampire EDH deck if I can get my hands on a copy. It's a sweet card. And now Tithe Taker. This card I was a little bummed to see because I had a leak video when a majority of these cards were shown a few days ago. And I typed up a bit of a Ravnica Allegiance speculation video, just trying to come up with what could be in the next set. And when I saw some of the stuff was leaked, I was like, oh, I got to get on this. And I'll show you here in a second. Let's get it. So Tithe Taker, for 1 and a blue, 1 and a blue, 1 and a white, you get a 2/1. During your turn, spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast, and abilities your opponents activate cost 1 more to activate, unless they're mana abilities. So again, we've got a couple cards here with Lavinia and Tithe Taker. Got a couple cards that are going to have some constructed playability for sure. A 2/1 for 2, not exciting, but the mechanic, which we can all assume is the Orzhov mechanic, Afterlife, 1. When this creature dies, create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. That's pretty awesome. Now, the reason I was a little disappointed to see this is I'm going to show you. Let me get my magic going. Okay, so as we can see here, Ravnica Allegiance speculation video. I created this early November and last modified 4 days ago. So pre the announcement today. Forgive, you're going to see all my nonsense. So Ravnica Allegiance speculation video. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here. Look at all my typos. Anyway, here's what I was very proud to say. And this is just for me. And while working on this, the first one that came to mind was Orzhov and trying to play off the colors of the guild from Guilds of Ravnica. So as you can see here, I was thinking it'd be cool to have something for Orzhov that works with cards in any graveyard, like Afterlife. I literally named the mechanic Afterlife, where you can exile a card in a graveyard, get a spirit token. So I was off on how the token gets there, but literally nailed the name and the outcome of getting a spirit token. And the reason I had exile a card from a graveyard is because if we look at Guilds of Ravnica, black for Golgari and for Dimir, you're either surveilling cards at the graveyard or you want creatures in the graveyard. So my thought was, okay, Orzhov has black. It'd be nice if there was some graveyard interaction there because black from both sets interacted with the graveyard. Let's have Orzhov do the same. And then for white, you had Selesnya or Boros. And Selesnya wanted to go wide so you can convoke stuff out. Boros wants to go wide so that you can do damage. So I thought, okay, interact with the graveyard, get tokens, or get creatures of some sort. I felt really confident about this mechanic. I hadn't quite solidified the other 4, but this was the one that I was like, wow, cool, let's get this in a video. Unfortunately, the leaks popped up about a week earlier than I was planning, but I just want to throw it out there. I'm very proud of myself that I was able to hit one of the mechanics on the nose. Feeling pretty good about that. I think the logic to it is fairly straightforward, so I don't think I blew the doors off creativity-wise, but that feels kind of cool. Yeah, I'm just giving myself a pat on the back, and then I'm going to move on from that. Even seeing this handful of cards, clearly there's going to be some really fun cards in this set. If you're a constructed player, you already have stuff to look forward to for almost every format out there. If you're just excited for new sets like I am, you're going to be really excited to figure out what the other mechanics are, already start theory crafting some draft strategies. Hopefully I'm not getting too ahead of myself here, but overall, I'm very excited. I hope you are too. Let me know what you think the next 4 mechanics are. If I can come up with some type of idea, I'll try and get that out ASAP, but I don't know how much longer we'll see, how much longer it'll be until more spoilers start coming out, but I'm very excited. This, man, Wizards, you're crushing it on this return to Ravnica. It's going well. So 2 thumbs up for you guys. A lot of these cards I'm very impressed with. Looking forward to what happens with it. But definitely stick around, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be coming out with videos every time there's new cards coming out. There's a lot going on in December. I hope you're excited for the new set. I'm excited for the new set. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.